All right, so on to their 30 teams in 30 days. We're talking about the Miami Heat. They made it to the NBA Finals this season. Only two people probably in the world who thought they was gonna make it. There was Kendrick Perkins and Jimmy Butler himself. What do you make of the Miami Heat, and what can they do to shake things up next season?
Yeah, my position on the Miami Heat is I've been pretty serious on this. I thought the Miami Heat was the team that benefited the most from the bubble. I don't think if circumstances was regular, they go on the road to Milwaukee and beat Milwaukee in 4 games. I don't think they go on the road in Boston and beat Boston basically in 5 games. And they really, I know a lot of people, I know they went to the finals, and I know a lot of people want to talk about, guys like guys like Bam and Goran Dragic was injured. But you have to realize the first round, Miami Heat, they played the Pacers. The Pacers did not have Sabonis, which is their best player. The second round, they played the Bucks with no Eric Bledsoe, and Giannis was injured. In third round in the conference finals, they played the Celtics with no Gordon Hayward and they injured Kemba Walker. So no team was really fully healthy. So those Miami Heat fans, I don't want to hear those excuses about those guys were injured when you were playing injured and depleted teams straight throughout the playoffs. You didn't speak about those, but Miami, I still think they're a pretty good team. I think they're probably going to be a top 4 seed next year. At least I think it's probably going to be, if Giannis stays with the Bucks, it's going to be the Bucks, the Nets, Celtics, and Heat. I think those are going to be the top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference. And they're going to lose Dragic. Dragic is a free agent right now. I don't know. I doubt they resign him. He's going to have his he's gonna have surgery on his foot. So I think I don't know if they're gonna resign him. I think he leaves. I'm pretty sure they want him back. But I think Dragic, I think he probably get a good amount of money on the market because he played really well. And I think the Heat are saving their money for next offseason to go after Giannis. So I don't think they spend too much this offseason. They're gonna lose Jay Crowder. He's a free agent. He's gonna be a big time loss for them. He's a trendy guy. He's really he was the guy that really help them throughout the bubble because coming in up until the finals, Jay Crowder was shooting 50% from three. I don't think people realize that. This guy was shooting 50% from three up until the NBA, up until those last 2 games against Boston. He's shooting 50% from three, and he's playing really good defense. He's the one that took some of the defensive pressure off Jimmy Butler, which allowed him to put more on the offensive end. So I think they'll spend pretty low this offseason. I don't think they go after much guys. I think they're just waiting for guys like Bam. Bam is going to get his extension. He's going to get probably the max this offseason. Tyler Hero. I think they're planning on giving him a bigger role. Maybe have him start next year like he did during the bubbles. I think they're just ready. They're just ready to give Bam and Hero bigger roles. I think they're going to wait till next offseason to go after the big fish, go after Giannis.
Yeah, their plan is to go after Giannis, and if they get Giannis, I want to tell you this team will be a defensive nightmare. Like you got Bomb, you got Giannis, and you got Jimmy Butler. Like I don't know who's going to get past those guys. And just a couple of things. Your points you mentioned. They would have beat the Pacers bubble or no bubble, and they would have beat the Milwaukee Bucks bubble or no bubble.
I disagree. I don't
No,
think Tyler Hero scores 37 points. I don't
okay,
think he go and average 20 points as a rookie.
okay. Well,
In this,
no,
like I don't think that happens. That's not
I mean,
realistic.
we see rookies do well in the playoffs all the time. You saw Jason Tatum come in and do
When
it.
was the last time a rookie averaged 20 points in the
Jason,
playoff? Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum did it. Jason Tatum did it. He came and he light everything
So
up.
you
I
ready
know.
to say Tyler Hero's on
Oh,
Jason
okay.
Tatum's level?
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. We obviously we can't
And
say
he was the number one option, as a
that.
matter of fact. Tatum was the
Okay.
number one option on that team.
Okay. Well, Tyler Hero didn't average 20. He only had he was like 18, 15 points
He
mostly.
averaged 20 points.
He had that one game where he went off where he went off against the Celtics. And
He
the dude
averaged
did
20
win the
points in the
game.
playoffs.
Okay, but I don't think that's like I mean I don't think bubble or no bubble. I think these guys will still probably get into the NBA finals. You could argue if Hayward was there, Celtics probably would have been the favorites. But the reality was if these guys was playing the Celtics without Hayward and without I mean in just regular situation, they and Kemba played terrible. So that probably still would have been I feel the Heat probably still would have won that series. But in terms of Jay Crowder, I've never seen a person traded more than Jay Crowder. Like he's been traded probably every season he's been in the league. He's expendable. Hit them losing him is not gonna mean much because he's been traded all his life. That's what he is. He's a good trade piece. He's a he's a good 3-and-D guy. But I don't think Jay Crowder is that guy, like the big moment guy. I saw him. He was when he got traded from the Celtics to Cleveland. He was horrible. Like he was terrible. He's that guy. He only could play well on underdogs when there's no expectations. He can't play well when there's expectations on him. Um, and if their goal is to get Giannis. And whether they trade, I don't think they're gonna try and trade for him. I think they're gonna try and keep their young pieces. Tyler Herro is gonna be good, and Duncan Robinson is probably. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be a star. He's probably gonna be like more like a Seth Curry or like a JJ Redick type of guy. Come off the bench and hit a bunch of threes for you. Don't play no defense. But these Tyler Hero's gonna if they can keep Hero, Butler, and Bam and get Giannis, I don't. The way I saw Jimmy play inside the playoffs, like those games where he took over, like they're gonna be a problem inside the Eastern Conference for years. Like this team is good.
First of all, nobody's saying Jay Crowder is a superstar, but you have to evaluate guys for what they are for their team. We all know what Jay Crowder is. He's a 3-and-D guy. He's a good role player, and that's the matter of fact. For the Miami Heat, he was the guy in the starting lineup that just hit spot up threes. This guy was shooting 10 threes a game. He's just hitting spot up threes and playing hard defense. That's what he is for that team. The role what he had with the Miami Heat is not going to be the same role he had with the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James, and guys like Kevin Love. The role we had, if you watch Jay Crowder when he was the Boston Celtics, he was really the second best player on that team behind Avery Bradley. Especially when Isaiah Thomas went down, he was really the best defensive player on that team alongside with Avery Bradley. So he played a bigger role with that Celtics team. You can't expect him to go to the Cavaliers and play the exact same role when you got LeBron James and you got Kevin Love and you got like Tristan Thompson on that team. But if you watch for the Memphis Grizzlies, Jay Crowder was a big piece of that Memphis Grizzlies team, and that's the reason why the Grizzlies fell off, and that's the reason why they missed the playoff.
Okay,
Jay Crowder he was that exact guy. He was the defensive stopper for that Memphis team. He was the guy to shoot cheese. He was the veteran presence.
Okay, so why
you see they really missed him.
Okay,
they traded him because he's on.
Okay, no, listen. This team.
They traded him because he's on an expiring contract. They traded him because he's on expiring contract. He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Okay, no, if he was so good, why they just didn't want to resign him? Why did the Miami want to resign him? Why did the Celtics trade him? Why did the Cavs trade him? This guy, he's just a good trading piece. Like you throw it in to just sweeten up the deal for.
No. I mean, I don't. You have good guys that get traded all the time. I don't understand. Victor Oladipo has been traded 3 times, and he's about to get traded again. He's about to be traded for his 4th time. He's been outside. He's all defensive player. Good guys get traded all the time. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but he's a great role player for that team. That's how you have to evaluate guys. You can't just look at them and say, "Oh, he's all right." He's not going to play the same role with every team. If you talk to John Moran, he spoke about Jay Crowder leaving. He spoke about how that really hurt their team, especially their defense. That's the reality of the situation. And then the man, Tyler Herro, like I know I like Tyler Herro. I watch him in Kentucky. I watch him in high school. He's a good shooter. I think he kind of needs another year of growth. I don't think as a Miami, I don't think you should fast track his progression. Yes, he's played great, but I also think that what we saw from him was more of an aberration than what we should expect to see going forward. What we saw in that short span of games, I don't think that's realistic to have this guy shooting 19 shots a game as in the second year.
Like, you were saying, okay, now you were saying after during the playoff run, Miami's gonna try to transition Herro into that number 1 role, and he's gonna be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. Now that's what you said. Now
I think he has the potential to be an all-star. I'm still standing on that.
So what we saw in the playoffs was an aberration. Then, if you think he has all-star potential, he showed that inside the playoffs. So
no, what I'm saying is you do not fast track his progression. That's kind of how you hurt, because I think it hurts your team if you try to fast track his progression. You see what they did with Bam. I thought Bam was going to be a great player coming in. It wasn't until his 3rd year the guys really knew about Bam. A lot of people didn't know about Bam, but I knew Bam when I watched Bam in Kentucky. I knew he's going to be a great player, but you see what he did. Although he was the best player on their team the past 2 years before Jimmy Butler came, they make sure they didn't put him in that number 1 role so soon. They make sure he had help around him. They make sure keep his role limited to where he grew, and then you see in his 3rd year he grew into that all all-star. He grew into that all-defensive player. That's what I think they should do the same thing with Tyler Herro. He don't need to be a number one option right now. You have
I
Bam, you
mean,
have Jimmy, you have other guys that can score. You can let Tyler Herro play his role, let him continue to get a feel for himself. And I think that's how guys grow. It's the same thing with Celtics did with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, he always could have scored, but guys just didn't know it. They use him as a defensive presence, and they progressed him. Now you see he's turning into the all-star. Now you see he's averaging 22 points a game. I think the same situation they should carry out with the Heat. Now I think they should go after a few low budget. I think they could spend some money. I think they could sign some guys on some 1 year deals. I think they're probably going to go after one of the Morris twins. I think he fits their mold of 3D guys, toughness and stuff like that. They're going to need a point guard. Kendrick Nunn, yes, he was great as a rookie. I don't think they want to have. I think they have to choose between Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Herro because you can't re-sign all those guys to extension, especially when you got Bam coming up and you're going to get Giannis. So I think they're probably going to go entirely Herro, and I think they're going to try to find another point guard in this offseason. And probably another four like the Morris twin, and I think that'll be them. I don't think they make too many moves this
well, I
offseason. Like you
mean,
said,
I don't think they need a point guard. I think you kind of try and grow Tyler Herro into being your point guard because we saw him with the ball. He's pretty good with the ball. And we saw Jimmy Butler inside the playoffs too. He gave them triple double twice, and we saw how effective he was when he had the ball and he was creating plays. I don't think they necessarily need a point guard. And then you mentioned Kendrick Nunn. But in terms of like their young guys, none of those young guys play defense, and we saw it against the Lakers. The Lakers exposed them. Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Herro, and Duncan Robinson, especially when those guys aren't hitting shots. We saw Tyler Herro was like minus 37, and that's because he can't play no defense, and they're relatively ineffective when they're not hitting shots. So I think that's something they need to address, and I feel like that's not going to continue because this is Miami. They got Butler and Bam Adebayo, and they built on toughness. So those guys they're going to whip them into shape. So I think getting a point guard, maybe they could sign some 1 year deals, but I don't think they necessarily need a point guard. Not for that.
I think they need to. I don't think Tyler Herro. I don't think Tyler Herro is your solution at point guard. I really don't. His ball handling, it's not that elite. I mean, he can handle the ball, but it's not elite. We know in this league, you need an elite point guard. Yes, it's going to work against some teams when you get deeper in the playoffs, like we saw that it gets exposed when you have a true point guard. We saw that with the Clippers. We saw that with the Celtics because Kemba was injured. And we saw it with the Bucks. You had Giannis at a point, it just really wasn't wicked. That's what happens to true teams. You need that guy. You see you need that guy. You need that Kyle Lowry kind of guy. You need that Rajon Rondo kind of guy. You need that point guard. We even see with the Denver Nuggets. I even thought the Nuggets need a point guard. Yes, Jamal Murray they really had to run a two-man game because they did not have a point guard to initiate the entire offense. So they had to run a two-man game with Murray and Jokic. So I think that point guard is very much needed. But yeah, like you said, I don't think they make too many moves. They're focused on next season. Everybody knows it. And hopefully they can get Giannis.